Hey everybody, and welcome back. So today I'm gonna tell you about a vlog I did. I chose of my own free will to reread A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I read this book for the first time in 2016. There wasn't as much talk about this book as there is nowadays, and I read this book back then, and for some reason I chose to reread it. I chose to reread it because the new Hanya Yanagihara book, To Paradise, had come out, and for some reason I was expecting a repeat of the emotions I had as I read this book, and that's not what happened. It's 3 stories in one book, and I read the first story and I DNF'd it. That's not to say that the book is bad or that Hanya Yanagihara's writing got worse. Absolutely not. But my expectations going in were just completely wrong. I wanted this again, so I read this again. So yeah, basically this vlog is a live reaction to A Little Life. Spoilers galore. This book's been out for quite a while now, so I feel like I'm completely justified in giving it a spoiler review. I would say enjoy, but given the subject matter of this book, I don't know if enjoy is the right word. Here's the vlog.
Your season of occupation. It's time to send in your application. Get to know your short-term friends you only talk to till summer ends. The best way to spend your day in it when you're only making $10 every 60 minutes. Let's clock out, you and me, wander around West County. Take my hand, shop and see. Only get paid hourly. We can couple, I can drive. Listening to Jackson 5. We can make it.
So yeah, let's fucking do this. The first time I read this, it took me a month because it was really heavy. So we'll see how long this takes, okay? Happy Little Life reread. Let's see how this goes. Also, one more thing to add before I head... Shit. One more thing to add before I head back in and read this book. Unintentional matching, by the way. The first time I read this, I gave this book 5 stars, okay? So I'm gonna be very curious to see if this rating remains, alright? I am flying through this book pretty fast. I'm already on part 2. As you can see, I have made a lot of notes, significantly more than I thought I would. This scene when they get locked out of their house in the New Year's party, and then Willem jumps down to Jude and holds him by the waist and says, "I've got you." What a metaphor for what the rest of this book is gonna be, okay? I'm scared, because I know that my feels are gonna be attacked. I'm less scared for the ending of the happy years, which we all know what happens. What really I'm scared for is the last 200 or so pages, which is an examination of grief. You know, Jude trying to cope and not having Willem there. That's what I'm scared for. That's the part that really got me the first time. Fuck. Okay, I'm scared. Check in soon. Alright, hey everybody. First update. I'm currently on page 166. Rereading this book, finally after about 6 years, is like catching up with old friends. I am getting all the things back now. My hatred for JB, my why is he even here reaction for Malcolm, my love for Willem, and just how sad I felt for Jude and how much I related to him. I don't relate to the specifics of his condition, but I do relate to his internal monologue a lot, because a lot of those things are things that I have felt. Also, Harold and Julia, oh my gosh, they, the most beautiful human beings in the world. Just knowing how full of love they are and knowing how this book ends for them is just making me kind of scared, honestly, because I know what's gonna happen, I know how I'm gonna feel. So I just wanna say that I fucking hate JB so fucking much. Like, he is such a pretentious blowhard jerk, okay? He's like the kind of person who is like, oh, my art is the best, I need to be valued by others, others must value me for my genius, self-important messianic ass, like, bruh. So yeah, JB, fuck him. And the JB character seems to heavily contrast with Jude. Like, there are 2 extremes. What I see in Jude is that he is somebody who shoulders his burdens and doesn't want to make his problems the problems of the rest of the world or the rest of the people who are around him. What JB does, on the other hand, every small thing has to be a thing for everybody around him, has to be a problem for everybody around him. It's so annoying every time he's on screen. It's like my head's gonna explode because I fucking hate this guy. He is so dramatic. I mean, I will give credit where credit is due. I do love how Hanya Yanagihara uses his chapters and his point of view to show how artists seek inspiration from other people. She highlights how artists have a hard time finding their niche, you know, how they have a hard time discovering themselves because art, just like personhood, is a process of self-realization. Overall, I just really do not like his character at all, especially because I know what he does to Jude at this part, you know, around this part of the book. Willem, on the other hand, has this empathy toward Jude. I love how she connects Willem's empathy toward Jude to a personal experience from his past, specifically his brother Hemming, because he had this younger brother who was disabled and who his parents saw as a burden, but Willem was the one who ultimately saw all the humanity in this guy, and when Hemming died, it just hurt him so much, which is why when he started seeing Jude's self-harm and stuff like that, he started feeling guilt, because he was like, yes, I want to respect Jude's privacy, but I also don't want to have this thing in my conscience where if he takes it too far and does kill himself, I was insufficient, like I didn't do enough. Oh, I love Willem's character so much. And I love how she uses his character to show the fear in chasing a dream. Breaking into the whole acting world is difficult, it's hard, it's daunting, and the way she goes about that is really interesting. And I love the way she writes about youth. It reminds me of how Donna Tartt describes the way she wrote about them in The Secret History. These men are at that age at the beginning of the book where you truly come face to face with the world and see the world as like a moral stage in which tough decisions are played out and all their consequences have true ramifications, like with what you choose to study in school, with the job you take, with the relationships you take. So good. And then Jude. I think, yeah, Jude was honestly my favorite character the first time, and is still my favorite character this time. I love him so much. One of the first things we see of Jude is that he is unable to define the word happiness in himself, because he sees happiness as the absence of misery and fear, because he's been used to trauma so much that just the fact that nothing bad is happening to him is a-okay in itself. And what makes me feel so sorry about Jude is that he feels inherently insufficient. Like, he feels the need to overprove his friendship, and as such, this leads to him being taken advantage of sometimes by bitches like JB. What I related to him the most about was that he was so scared that people were gonna get tired of him, that they were gonna find him funny at first, and then the more time they spend with him and see who he is, the less they're gonna want to be around him. I don't know, I've had like so many experiences in my life that are similar to this, honestly. So like, I relate to that so much. This book gets me as a person. Like, I didn't go through all this trauma, but like, so much of what I feel is like in these pages. Like, he's constantly expecting betrayal because that's all he knows in life. Every time he opens up and is vulnerable to someone, they use it against him. And it's like relatable content. And his just constant fear that his past is gonna be discovered is so sad to read about. He constantly feels like there is a limit to one's love for someone, that eventually someone's love for you will run out, and then what do you do? And Harold and Willem just being there, trying to prove to him over and over again that they won't leave. But we know how this book ends. And I was wondering if any of you who have read this book, which I'm presuming you have because this is a spoiler vlog, I'm wondering if any of you who have read this book read about the scene when the condition in his leg where the wounds keep opening up, and if you saw that as like a metaphor, because his wounds, they won't stay shut and they keep opening up, and he thinks that they're healed, but the fact that they keep opening up shows that he just keeps constantly expecting things to go bad. Like, his whole life is just him appreciating good things, but just expecting that shit's gonna get bad all over again. And the fact that this book, in the end, ultimately proves that thesis to him, that cynical thesis to him, is like rude. But like honest, right? Like, Hanya Yanagihara, she didn't hold any punches when she wrote this book, which is why I love it so much. And do you think that the reason he went into law school was because he was there when Dr. Trailer was getting prosecuted, and that gave him a semblance of justice, like finally gave him a sense of justice in the world, which is why he wanted to become a lawyer, so he could just have faith that there is justice in this world, in this existence. I don't know, I've been rambling a lot about these characters, but I love them. I wish I could get a shirt that says Malcolm and Willem and Jude, not JB, just Malcolm, Willem, Jude, Harold, Julia. There, I wish I could get that shirt. JB is just, just no. Oh my gosh, the scene when they were locked outside on the roof of the building, and this was during New Year's Eve, when the day before, Willem had taken Jude to Andy, and Andy like told Willem about the cutting and stuff. And then when Willem went down after him and held him by the waist and was like, "I've got you," I was like, I almost had like a full-on cry fest just right then and there. Anyway, chat soon.
1, 2, 3, fuck it.
My darling, I love you, 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 I l
Alright, hey everyone, I am currently on page 277 of A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I have been reading other books whilst reading this one for the sake of emotional balance. I know that the Caleb stuff is gonna happen, I know that the brother Luke backstory is gonna happen. I'm just so scared to get to all the scenes that I know are gonna come. But here's the most important thing. Whenever I want to put this book down, whenever I want to stop reading this thing, Hanya Yanagihara just like comes in, she swoops in and shows me why I love this book so much in the first place. She shows me why I identify with Jude so much in the first place, why I see so much of myself in him. You know, Jude has this sentiment that everything is just gonna suck, and me with myself, you know, like certain friends, certain relationships I went into, you know, the course I took for college, my first job, like, you know, everything, so many things that I thought was gonna be like good for me in life just ended up turning to shit. I identify with Jude so much in that aspect. Like, I haven't gone through the abuse he went through, but I'm just, you know, so cynical and so pessimistic about anything. Like, whenever I enter a new friendship or whenever I get into something that I am initially looking forward to, I'm just like, okay, how is this gonna suck? What am I gonna do to fuck this up? How is this gonna end up going to shit? Because it always fucking does. So it's like, yeah, Hanya Yanagihara like truly gets me. She keeps reminding me over and over again about why this was one of my all-time favorite books to begin with, why this will always be mentioned in some of my favorite books ever, because this book understands. Hi, okay, this is natural lighting, it's inconsistent, I'm sorry. I really like how Hanya Yanagihara wrote depression in all these things that you feel when you are depressed, that I have felt when I was depressed, and how you feel like you're just a psyche controlling a marionette, trying your best to get that puppet through the day, you know, trying your best to come off as a normal human being even though you just can't function because of the inner turmoil you're going through. I know exactly how that feels. The way she writes about it is so good here, and Jude talks about how he feels like life is something that had just, you know, happened to him, not something that he chose. Things that he has, like, no choice over. Whether or not someone likes you, whether or not you get abused, how you're treated. It's just something that happens to you. And as a result, he doesn't feel like he has self-ownership. One of the reasons I suspect that he cuts is because he wants to prove to himself that he owns himself. He wants to have some semblance of control over something, and that thing is pain. Like, so many people cause pain to him, and he wants to have an outlet to control the pain, you know? To feel it, but to have control over that pain. That's what I think. I've been making far more notes than I did the first time I read this, I can tell you that. I want to meet Hanya Yanagihara one day and ask her just like what she's been through to make her like understand the human condition so well, because I just can't comprehend how well she gets things and how well she writes them down. The way she writes them down is in such a way that like I feel like these are thoughts that I have had before, but I didn't know that I had them until I read the way she wrote them in this book. It's like bitch. And then there were some scenes that I got to that I need to just rant about, like the scene when Willem showed up to Jude's adoption party because his flight got delayed was just so beautiful. You know what I'm pissed off about? You know what I fucking need to rant about? Fucking JB, man. Fucking this motherfucking asshole. I wanna fight this character. The scene when this biatch ass painted Jude when he was coming off of an episode, coming off of like a, you know, panic attack or something, and he put that in the art gallery. I'm just so fucking mad, hold on. And he'd gaslit Jude, he didn't apologize to Jude, he was just like, oh, it's the top artwork and people love it, you should be grateful to me. Like, yes, I put your trauma on full display for everyone, but you should be grateful to me, Jude. And just knowing what JB does to him, like, near the end, this fucking mother... Sorry. I know that there are worse characters in this book. I know that there's like Caleb. I know that there's Dr. Trailer. I know that there's, you know, Brother Luke. These are people that Jude trusted who just fucked that trust, you know, just like ruined it, just made him regret trusting them, and I just hate these people so much. And Hanya Yanagihara seems to have that same hatred for people of that sort that just speaks to me. You know, I'm on page 277, but yeah, reread so far, going well. I'm seeing things, I'm being reminded about things, and yeah, so far so good. Chat soon. Alright, hello everyone. Hi, how are you? I was under the impression that I was not going to appreciate A Little Life as much because I felt that, I don't know, maybe I read it when I was young and immature and very idealistic, and the way I viewed the world would be very different from the way I viewed it now, and that Hanya Yanagihara's excessive cynicism would not resonate with me the way it did. It's resonating with me more. Like, after having gone through more things, you know, having graduated from college, having had my first job, relationships and shit like that, I feel more seen now than I did when I read this book the first time. Okay? So I'm just gonna tell you where I am. I just got to page 350. Okay, with our favorite character, Caleb, this little motherfucking bitch. Look at this annotation right here. I underline his name and I'm like, no! Caleb sucks. Alright, hey everybody, and hi. So I spent the entire afternoon reading A Little Life, and I am currently on page 400, so I have made a significant chunk of this book today, but I just wanted to come in and give an update, of course. I am in a state of literal rage because of what has happened. All JB does is take advantage of his friends, this kindness. This guy is somebody who doesn't understand the value of good friends, doesn't understand the value of loyalty, of having somebody always there. He is literally somebody who takes everything for granted. I don't know how Jude puts up with this guy, because you have Jude who, you know, had nothing, and here you have JB, little bitch JB, you know? I hate this guy so much. Can I just rant about the scene when JB copies Jude's limp? Why? I suppose I was thinking of Hanya Yanagihara writing this book and being like, okay, I need to make these people nuanced. I need to have like some rudeness in this friends group. And she just like dumped all like the negative traits or things that would piss me off in this one character, and I just... And damn right that Willem disowns JB as a friend after that stunt he pulled, you know, copying Jude's limp. And of course this hurt the most, because Jude had this negative self-image of himself, in his heart, and JB copying that limp literally just validated all Jude's negative emotions, and it's pissed me off more than I could say, you know? I haven't had like a full sob reading this book yet. I will admit that I did get choked up in the scene when Willem told Jude that anyone would be lucky enough to be with him because he suspected that Jude was under the impression that certain aspects of the human experience were just things that he was not entitled to. Things that were, for some reason, by the laws of nature, off limits to him because of who he is as a person. I know I've been saying that I relate so much to this book, but honestly I do. When we get to the part where Jude talks about his experience of, you know, being skeptical about being in a romantic relationship, not wanting that for himself, I felt that, you know, his whole thing about having a hard time trusting people because they will just use your vulnerability against you, you know, fucking people like that, little bitches like that. They populate this story. They have populated, well, why am I doing this as if this is Jude? Might as well be. They have populated Jude's life, and they're fucking assholes, okay? And yeah, I mean, I have had people in my life who I opened up to, who I thought I trusted, and then they essentially proved to themselves to be like bitches. I had like a worse word in my mind, but like, I mean, YouTube, algorithm, you know. With regard to like my romantic experiences in life, when Jude was being flirted with Caleb, who, by the way, I have like so much disparaging footnotes over here. Like whenever Caleb is on the page, I underline it and write, fuck you, little bitch, asshole, red flag, red flag, red flag, because Caleb is like a literal walking red flag, but because Jude was so haunted by the concept of what if I take a chance? What if I take a leap of faith and the universe proves me wrong and, you know, I end up having access to, you know, various things in the human experience that I never thought I would because as a consequence of, you know, being deemed worthy of love by this Caleb person, he ignored all the red flags. I felt that. Just saying. I too have ignored red flags. I mean, I do it all the time with books because it's like, okay, toxic trait, I mean, but they still hot though, oops. But like in real life, don't do that shit. I mean, you've got to tell your friends about people because they will tell you if somebody is just playing, you know? You know? Okay, why am I getting a bit too real here? Okay, what the fuck? And I got so choked up in the scene when Caleb was like beating Jude up and Jude was like thinking that it was appropriate punishment because of his hubris or arrogance that he was entitled to, you know, certain things. That's fucked up. Okay, I need to just come a little closer. I know my hair is a mess, but I need to rant about the scene when fucking Caleb confronted Harold and Jude in the restaurant, got up in Harold's face and was like, wouldn't it be better if your son wasn't a cripple? I wanted to fucking enter the world of this book and fight. I wanted to engage in battle. I know I'm gonna win. Okay, fine, I may not win because he was described as like big and muscular and shit, but I would go down with a fight. Like, I would confront, okay? What really triggered the tear ducts was when we got Harold's chapter and he opened up about the fact that, you know, his biggest fear is losing a child. And then we get to Jude's chapter and then we see that Jude's biggest fear is people discovering about his past and seeing him as the person he sees himself as, or the person he knows himself to be, and thus being unable to live up to other people's expectations of him. And this chapter is called The Axiom of Equality, so 0 equals 0, since he believes that he started off as, you know, nothing, because that's how he was made to feel from a very young age. No matter what he does in life, no matter his accomplishments as a lawyer, yada yada yada, he will always be that person he thought he was. He feared that Harold would stop loving him because he would come off as this person that he sees himself to be, but like Harold literally just only wants him to be alive. When that hit me, I'm not gonna hide it. The waterworks were activated. I didn't get footage of it because it was just like a quick moment, but like, bitch. We finally got our first mention of the title, A Little Life, and that pertains to when Harold and his wife at the time were discovering that they had to recalibrate as parents, and when they found out just how short the life of their son, Jacob, was gonna be, they did their best to just make the short time he had on Earth count. And that mirrors Jude, and it just... The way things mirror things in this book is just, oh my gosh. Yeah, this book is like way better than I gave it credit for the first time. And I gave it 5 stars the first time. Yeah, I'm gonna continue reading. Check in soon. Alright, hey everyone. Vlogging outside is like literal hell, by the way. Alright, let me just explain where I've been. Yes, my hair is shorter now. Last time I checked in, I was halfway through the book, and it's been 2 weeks, and I'm still halfway through the book. And the halfway mark of this book is the point where Caleb beats up Jude, and it's right after that where Harold shows up to Jude's house and sees the aftermath. Yeah, and I was like, I love Harold so much, and I don't want to relive the scene where Harold finds Jude in the state that he's in. So I devised a extremely smart, carefully calculated, and highly strategic move of avoiding this book for 2 weeks. So yeah, it's been a bit over 2 weeks since I have picked this book up, and I thought that I would come out here today and binge at least 300 pages on this vlog. It's currently morning, so I'm probably gonna cram this in until the afternoon so I can have this natural lighting out as I read this book. Okay, so I think I'm gonna just binge the Happy Years and take a break, a small break, before having to read the aftermath of Willem's death. So here's the book. I'm gonna sit on that couch, I'm gonna binge read, and check in soon. I'm scared, but yeah, 300 pages, we got this. We're gonna do this. See you on the other side. Sorry, okay, I did tear up a bit. Shit. Sorry, I need a moment. This book is really floppy. Let me just gather myself. Okay, so this was the scene when Jude told Harold about the fact that he would understand if Harold dissolved the adoption. I was like, you know, that's not what Harold wants. But here's the thing, I mean, like, we as the reader have been getting to read from Harold's point of view. We have to understand that Jude doesn't know what we know because Jude has not been in Harold's head the way that we have. He can't comprehend the fact that someone would love him this much and would want him to be alive. Yeah, I forgot how heavy this book was. Should I continue reading? Yeah, I will. I will. Okay, so for some reason, I was under the impression that we were over the Brother Luke chapters. I was fucking wrong. I was really fucking wrong. I don't know if any of y'all are like fans of cults or the psychology of cults, but if you've seen the film Midsummer, you know that what the cult does is that they find somebody who is traumatized and thus impressionable, and they love bomb them. So what Brother Luke did to Jude is like how someone indoctrinates somebody into a cult. All the brothers were like abusive in all different ways, and Brother Luke was the only one that made him feel like an actual person that was worth something, that had merit, that was worth loving. So it just makes me want to fucking go into the book and fight and stab him in the dick hole for what he inevitably does to Jude. Pisses me the fuck off. I'm so like, I want to fight like half the people in this book. Fucking Luke, JB, Caleb, bitch, Caleb and JB. I want to throw fists. I want to throw foots. I want to make some bitches eat my foot. Like, fucking. And it just makes me so sad that the only hope that Jude knew was false hope, because Caleb promised to, because Luke, see, like the names like bleed into each other, all the assholes. All of them are people that gave Jude hope. So you have JB, who gave Jude hope in true friendship, a friendship that was true and authentic, where you could be your most authentic self and not worry about judgment. But then JB like invaded that and violated that trust by displaying an artwork of Jude coming off of an episode. You know, one of the most personal moments one could have after a panic attack. Or worse, perhaps. And then you have Luke, someone who gave Jude hope in like a parent figure. And then what did he do? I don't even want to repeat it, honestly. And then you had Caleb, who gave Jude hope in, you know, the fact that somebody could love him, you know, a romantic interest. And then what did he do? Fucking beat him up, like, and that's something that Jude had been used to his whole life. So when he finally got real people in his life, and yeah, so much blame to go around, just fucking assholes, the whole planet. So I just got to the first chronological part where someone says, "I love you" to Jude. And of course, it's Brother Luke, so it's no secret and it's no surprise as to why Jude views the term "I love you" as something said as a means to manipulate him into using him for their own selfish ends, you know, the person who says that to him. And I think this is largely because Brother Luke ingrained into him when he was a kid that no one would ever love him because of who he was, you know, because he was dirty, and that Brother Luke would be the only one to tolerate someone as dirty as him. Fuck that. Like, literally fuck that. Yeah, this book is heavy. But honestly, I feel like I'm liking it a lot more now than I did the first time. I've been through more stuff. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to get into the specifics, but I have had more life experience in the 6 years that it's been since I had first read this book. I thought I related to Jude the most the first time I read it, but now reading it the second time, I feel like I super relate to Jude. Not to the same extent, obviously, of course, but his inner monologue and his views on, you know, work as a distraction, relationships, false hope, finding love to be something very overbearing. I can't believe I ever doubted that this was anything less than 5 stars. Because if this isn't a perfect book, I don't know what is. Fucking, like, I feel like Hanya Yanagihara opened up my skull, sifted in my brain, and was like, is that what you think? Is that who you are? And she says things that I wholeheartedly agree with, but never had the words to convey. And reading them in this book is just like, fuck, how does she know? You know? So yeah, I mean, damn. I'm gonna continue reading, and I will check in soon with some updates, and yeah. Okay, hi. So like, how is this angle though? How is this angle serving us? So Jude and Willem are now together, and of course this happened after Jude's suicide attempt. Yes, I did tear up a bit, and this was when Jude did his first suicide attempt. And he was just thinking about how it would be a lot less of an inconvenience if he just wasn't there in everyone's lives. And it's just like, dude, no, you're so loved. All right, so Jude and Willem are now in a relationship. I remember loving Willem the first time, but this time I'm kind of not vibing with him so much. Okay, hear me out. I'm not saying I think Willem's a bad person, like I do like him. Watching them navigate the early stages of a relationship is so hard because you have Willem who is used to getting his way romantically because he's so attractive, he's a movie star, and he wants nothing but the best for Jude. And then you have Jude with this entire past of being abused and who secretly cuts. It's really hard to read and it's really difficult, and their relationship is an extension of their friendship, and Willem has this whole thing in his past about feeling guilt for not having been there for Hemming, and Jude is over here. I don't know if like Willem intentionally psychologically inserted Jude in his life romantically to give himself the sense that he's having a second chance at saving Hemming. It's really intense, it's really heavy, it's really difficult. And Hanya, like honestly, her insights into relationships are just so... I think she's right about so much stuff, and it's so weird seeing someone that I don't know understand me so well. As someone who's struggled with cutting before, I'm okay now, but it's something that I have struggled before. I remember being in a relationship and just hating the fact that I couldn't do it because it would hurt the person I was with. And it made me kind of hate that person, you know? Like I knew that it was an unhealthy coping mechanism, but it was the only thing that worked. But yeah, that was something that I had gone through after my first read, and I didn't understand just how much she understood that specific emotion of mine that I felt, that I forgot was in this book until I read it again. Like, have you ever opened up to someone who society tells you is the person that is the one worth opening up to, and then just felt worse after telling them your shit because they just didn't get it? This read through is very uncomfortable because it's been giving me a lot of flashbacks and shit. So yeah, just gonna continue reading, and I'm gonna see how much of this I'm willing to keep into the vlog, because I mean, it would be nice to look back at this vlog and see if I'm still the same way, or if I do develop as a human being. I don't know, 3 years from now. Maybe I'll reread this book every 5 years. We'll see. It would be interesting to see if my opinion of this book changes given everything, but based on this second reread, A Little Life Round 2, I think I'm liking it more. I don't know, we'll see. Fuck, so I just got to another really intense scene, and that's when Willem was like stripping Jude and like trying to find the blades, and then Jude like yells back at him like, "I'm not hemming." And I was like, bitch, like you didn't need to go there. I'm not liking Jude's relationship with Willem. It just feels like emotional violation after emotional violation, and I can empathize with Willem desperately wanting the best for Jude. I can. I don't know, man. I mean, it just feels gross. I don't think they should be together. It's so sad. Their relationship is so fucking sad. I feel like I'm the only one that has this opinion. I mean, I feel like most people have the opinion that Willem is the best thing that Jude could have because he's like the one saving him. And I don't even know if it's fair to call it a savior complex, or if I'm just like in a phase in my life where I just want to be left the fuck alone. And I'm wrong to feel this about their relationship because, well, I mean, look, personal experience, okay? I'm just not vibing with Willem this time around. I'm just so frustrated by him. I don't know if I'm frustrated with him or by their relationship in general, but it's so uncomfortable. Like, I've written so many times, like, just break up on the pages of this book on my annotations. I don't know, to me it's like Willem is a prisoner of his own naivete. Is that the right word? He's like naive to think that everything will turn out okay in the end. I don't know if it's fair to say that, but like that's what I'm getting so far. And Jude is just like the reality check he needs. Not everything's gonna turn out okay. That's fucked up, right? It's so sad. It is very late afternoon now, and I'm almost in the part where I said that I would stop over here, around page 650. The doctor trailer stuff is horrific. I feel like that could have been cut out, okay? Because I know that a lot of people have judged this book and have called it, you know, torture porn and shit like that. I feel like it is realistic in the sense that he would be sexually abused by these brothers because, you know, the church has all these, you know, scandals of that same sort, and that he would be, you know, sexually abused in those facilities with the counselors, because there are also scandals in that place also. But the doctor trailer stuff seems a bit like too much. I feel like that's when the torture porn critique hits people. Like, I don't know what Hanya Yanagihara was thinking when she put that scene in. I don't know what the inspiration for that was, if she saw it on like a newspaper or on the news or someplace and decided that it had to be in here. I'll have to think about it more. But I feel like that's the scene when people started to draw the line and be like, okay, this is a bit too much. And I would agree, like that scene is like, she is really pushing it with that scene. Like while I was reading that, I was just like, what? If you have any opinions on the doctor trailer stuff, I would love to hear it in the comments section. Let me know. Yeah. Willem is dead. Sorry. I'm gonna take a break. Let me just put my feet up and lean back, let the shit go back into my eyes. Okay. I don't know how people can go into Dear Comrade right after the Happy Years. And by the way, the Happy Years, biggest fucking fake news of the century. You know, to call your chapter the Happy Years and have that chapter be that chapter, bitch, Hanya, why? I didn't realize their house was in a forest, and that was very similar to the thing that Brother Luke promised him about them having a nice cabin in the forest together. When Jude made that connection, that correlation, I was just like, fuck. Like, is every facet of your life haunted and colored by this fucking Luke guy? Like, literally everything reminds him of the trauma that he had with Luke. It's like, it's fucked up. I need a fucking break. I forgot that Malcolm died. Fuck. He's left with JB. And now I remember that there's a scene where JB comes on to him. Fuck JB, honestly. Fuck this fucking bitch, JB asshole. I don't want that energy right now. I need to take a break. I'll probably read the rest of this tomorrow. I need to be kind to myself. I'm gonna put this book down for now. Okay. Peace. Chat soon. Hey everyone, I finally just finished A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I had to take a moment and just let the emotions sink in. I'm gonna need a bit of time to let my thoughts germinate before I give my final thoughts at the end. The scene where JB, like, makes the moves on Jude, I wanna stab this fucking asshole in the dick hole so hard. We do not stand JB in this house. Fuck JB. Fuck JB. Hanya Yanagihara is just like, are the good moments in life even worth it if everything else is just so bad? It's like, it gives me a lot to think about. Yeah, I need to think about this book more. The scenes that really broke my heart were near the end when Jude was already like fed up with life and everything, and Harold and Julia were trying to be kind to him, and he was like, your food tastes like shit, your food tastes like dog food, fuck you guys. I was like, oh, this is so hard to read. I cannot believe I read A Little Life twice. The first time I read it, it was like, okay, why is everyone so emotionally destroyed by this book? So I was reading it, anticipating the big shocking moments, and they came, and they did hit me the way they did everybody else. But this time, since I knew what I was getting myself into, this time I knew what the big sad moments were. The best parts are the moments in between those massive moments when she presents the sad moment and then gives her insights about life afterward. Those were what really hit me emotionally this time. So yeah, this is a perfect book. I love it with my entire being. I will not like a book more than this year. So, is it my favorite book? I don't know. Okay, fine, it's tied with my favorite books of all time. I don't have a one favorite book of all time. I have like an equal list. I'm thinking of Ending Things, Survivor, Night Film, Recursion, and A Little Life. Okay? Chat soon. So yeah, here we are at the end of this vlog. When it comes to this book, my mouth does not have the words. My love for this book comes from a very deeply personal level. I will say that I was feeling very alone these past 2 years when the Rona hit and stuff. And when you are like that, you get trapped in your head, you start thinking, you're like, what the fuck? Why am I thinking this shit? What's wrong with me? So when I read this book, it was like Hanya Yanagihara took my hand and was like, bitch, you're not alone. But despite this being like a super fucking dark, bleak book, it felt so cathartic. This reading experience just felt so cathartic because no one gets it the way Hanya does. No one gets me the way this book does. And I know that I can come off as very cynical, and I'm not the kind of person that exudes rainbows and butterflies. Like, I don't know how people do it. I don't know how it doesn't get tiring, but I do have emotions and feelings. Rarely do I ever feel this scene. If this book ever gets stolen, people will learn way too much about me. This was fantastic. I am really glad I gave this book a second shot. If this isn't a perfect book, I don't know what is. Thanks.
I lose myself